Hello and welcome back to another episode of Booked or Busted, where we make one call. There is 2 scores today. We're going to have 3 scores because I have another special guest in the house. I have a treat for you. This is going to be a great episode. But here's the deal. Everybody knows the rules of the show. You get one shot, one chance. It's one call. There is absolutely no excuses. Every home service company out there needs to be prepared to make a great first impression, to absolutely knock that customer socks off and get that call booked. So I want to introduce to you today's guest. We have Doug Wyatt with us. Doug, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself before we make this call?
Absolutely, Cory. It's an honor to be here with you. I appreciate the invite. It's an incredible show. I've invested a number of hours watching what you do on here. And I got to say, I'm nervous for the person we're about to call. I think you and I teaming up on this person on the dissection of what goes right or wrong here could be pretty rough. The only reason I say that is because it usually is. I've been in the trades now for almost 20 years. On 2 different stints. Had a company where we went to Inc. 5000 status in 2009, and then I spent about 7 years traveling, speaking, training over 7,000 blue-collar tradesmen across the country to sell with integrity, and that includes a call center program. And then, we got back into the training side. I've listened to over 10,000 calls, much like I'm sure you have, if not a whole lot more than I have. And I will say of the 10,000, about 98% of them are borderline horrific, in my opinion. There's so many different things that we're not doing that we could be doing to share empathy, to be better listeners, to schedule calls better, to make our homeowners and customers feel better served, to not act like the typical contractor. Personally, I won 2 Lennox Partners of the Year awards, once in 2016, once in 2018. And now what I do is I put my experience in the trades on the contractor side into doing tech training, sales training, leadership training, and call center training to raise our level of performance and professionalism. So that's what we do here at Synergy. And like I said, I'm honored to be here because I don't know if I've ever seen someone else other than you that has such a dynamic way of coaching call centers. So it's truly an honor to be here with you.
Well, I appreciate that, Doug. It's an honor to have you. I'm excited about this episode. It's going to be a lot of fun. We are going to call a company in New Orleans, Louisiana. Nice and hot, nice and humid. It's about 84 degrees right now. So I actually used to work in New Orleans. Have you spent a little time down there, Doug?
Yeah, I was just there recently. I was back there speaking at an event in the groundwater industry in December. I love some Nolans, some go down there on the bayou, done some alligator searching and out in the swamp. It's a great time down there on Bourbon Street. So yeah, I've actually had clients in New Orleans and Baton Rouge. It's a great place. So I'm hoping that this CSR, whoever answers the call, I hope they're having a great day and they do an incredible job.
Me too. So we're calling a company named Air Conditioning. So they have multiple locations. I think they're in multiple states. Doesn't look like they're a privately owned company, though. I don't think it's a private equity or anything like that. That's based on the research that I've done. But they are acquiring companies. So they actually purchased a company that is in New Orleans, but they just recently purchased a company called what a name for a company.
Okay.
Exclamation point, exclamation point.
Nice.
That's the air conditioning. So we're actually going to call Air Conditioning, who just acquired. So I think that would be an interesting test as well. I did acquisitions for a couple years in Mississippi. Some in one in Baton Rouge. Familiar with that process, and I know there's in the call center, if it's not done right, there can be some friction there. So now that they're owned by, I'm curious how they're going to do their greeting. Are they going to say? Are they going to say this is now partnered with? Or what's going to be their pitch there? And
it'd be very interesting. I mean, like you said, there's a lot of moving parts and pieces in every trade business. But now when you're talking about an acquisition that's taken place, how are they answering the phones? How are they communicating who they are in the community? I'm not sure how long this company has been around, but I know it's been around a long time. I haven't worked
45 years.
Over
45 years.
About a decade ago, I had some experience with some of the people down there, great people. So I'm hoping that this new division of theirs is doing well.
Yeah. So 45 years, they got a 4.8 average on Google and 2 reviews, at least in this location here in New Orleans. And then the health air conditioning's only been around just a little over 10 years. They have a
Okay.
4.8 as well, but only 198 reviews. So they haven't done a very good job of getting there.
Not a lot of reviews for a decade in business, but they've been around a decade, so maybe, hopefully you've got quite a bit of experience answering the phones.
Yeah. So one thing we're going to do fun, Doug, I haven't done this show yet, is because we know this is an acquisition, I'm going to push on them when we make the call and say, hey, I heard you guys sold out, right? Something like
Okay.
that. Or you got
Boy,
bought out.
this will be great. This will
Where's
be
the old
interesting.
owner at? And just to see how they handle that, because that's such a common thing that your company gets when they sell, right? And you got to know how to handle that.
In my opinion, the day that the acquisition took place, they should have a script and have their team role playing and
Oh, yes.
practicing every single thing that they would come up against, especially I heard you guys sold out. So hopefully they're well prepared for it.
Yeah, so many don't, and they're not. Let's see. All right, let's go on and give this company a call and
Okay.
see how they do.
Thank you for calling Air Conditioning, now partnered with. All calls are recorded for quality and training purposes. Please hold for the next available representative.
That was 11 seconds. Okay, we're past 20 seconds. Some nice, relaxing on hold music. 30 seconds. I'm hot. I'm sweating.
I'm going to go to sleep with this nice hold music. Could be a great time to build some value. Definitely not the time to start selling anything, but we could start learning a little bit about them.
Yeah. All right, so I'm at 50 seconds. So in reality, 84 degrees, my AC's broke down. Most people, after 20 seconds, 30 seconds, they're hanging up the phone and they're calling the next company they see on Google.
Yeah, they probably got their search results up and they're already reading reviews of a few other companies and they're getting ready to hang up and dial if they haven't already.
Wow. We're a minute and 15 seconds in.
Yeah, the amazing thing is, while it is warm, I think you said it's 84 degrees there right now. That's not exactly sweltering, so you wouldn't think that they'd be backed up that much this early
It's
in the
just
season.
springtime. Yeah, it's still cool in the evenings, gets down to the 60s in the evenings, warm in the day.
Probably not that humid down there yet. The humidity will really start to set in the next 30 to 40 days.
Wow. Oh no. Oh my.
We're gonna have to do an edit here on the final version of your show, Cory, because we might be here a while just listening to this beautiful instrumental.
Well, I'm going to give them till 2:30. 2 minutes and 30 seconds. And we're going to hang up. And then I'll try them one more time.
Well, while we're listening and you're doing the countdown, I will say this. As a contractor, I would look at my team if this had come to pass and say, do you realize that everything we've done in Oregon?
AC, heating, electrical, and plumbing. Please stay on the line for the next available representative.
Am I just now getting in the queue?
Please be advised this call is being recorded for quality assurance.
You got a double call recording message.
Wow. I was just going to say that this is
Thank
liquid
you for
gold.
contacting now partnering with Air Conditioning.
Hello?
Thank you for calling now partnering with Air Conditioning.
Oh yeah. My air conditioning's broke down and it's starting to get pretty hot in the house.
I'm so sorry about that. I am with the overflow department, which must mean that the office is handling other appointments at the moment.
Oh, okay.
To best assist you, let me gather some information and I'll get it over to the office. And as soon as the technician becomes available, they'll reach out to get you scheduled.
Okay.
Just in case we get disconnected, may I have your phone number, please, sir?
Yeah. You ready?
Yes.
It is 386-569-4842.
Thank you. I have 386-569-4842.
Uh-huh.
May I have your name, please, sir?
Yeah, it's Dave. Last name is Longacre.
D-A-V-E.
Yeah, D-A-V-E.
Thank you. And is it Longacre?
It's Longacre, so Longacre. I'm not sure if that's what you said.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
And may I have the address, please, sir?
Yes. It is 4455 San Marco Road, New Orleans.
Thank you. And what is the zip code there in New Orleans?
It is 70129.
70129, New Orleans, Louisiana. And I've got 4455 San Marco Road. That's SAN and then MARCO.
Yep.
Thank you. Have you used our services before, or would you be a new customer to us?
I think I'm a new customer. I don't think I've used you guys before.
Thank you. How did you hear about us?
Just a Google search.
Thank you. Do you have an email address so we can get you more information?
Yeah, it's Dave Longacre7@gmail.com. Uh-oh. I think I hung up on her.
Oh, no.
Okay. Well, you know what? What we can do, actually, we can call back. So let's talk about that for a minute, and we'll actually try to give him a call back, Doug, and see if we can get to the office. But
it might also be interesting if you gave him your number if she calls you back.
Yeah, that would be an interesting thing too. I gave her my number. So let's see if she calls back. So we can talk. We had a lot to talk about here. I almost don't want to call them back because they don't deserve a call back. I should be calling their competitor. It's what I need to do. But a few things. I'm sure you got quite a few notes there just on the phone system, right? So just you got a double call recording. The hold music was terrible, right? I'm falling asleep, especially in a long wait time. The initial message was fine. It was a little long. So that initial message, whether you're saying this call is going to be recorded, thanks for calling our company, you want to try that, keep that less than 5 seconds, right?
Yeah,
so
I
that
agree.
was about 12 seconds there that they had there. Just adds friction, adds time to the call. And then we're in this on hold music. Well, then you see what happened. So at 2 minutes and 30 seconds, we went into the queue. What happened was it said this call may be recorded again. The double call recording there was because now I was being transferred to a third-party call center, right? So they got to now announce that, hey, this call is going to be recorded. So you got that. And now we're in their queue. Then it's ringing. So I think it was close to 3 minutes by the time we got on the phone. So what's bad about this? Everybody needs after hours. Everybody needs overflow. You need to be getting that customer to a person within 20 seconds, 30 at the absolute most. So what their big critique here is they got to reduce the time it takes, right? So if they don't answer within 30 seconds, that should be automatically pushed to their third party.
Yeah, I agree with everything you're saying here, Cory. I mean, listen,
yeah.
the customer service score here to me it's a 0, right? It's like it wasn't that she was rude, but it also didn't sound like a lot of empathy. When she answered, she did say, "I'm so sorry," and you've reached the overflow department. She didn't really show any empathy. She didn't ask us how long this has been going on. There was nothing personal about us. And one of the things that really annoys me about call centers is before she's really even found anything about us, they want to know how much their marketing budget is working by asking a question like number here that doesn't really matter. And I don't know. It wasn't that she was rude. It just was that she was not attentive and not empathetic.
It was flat. It was flat. And the worst part for him is I was a 17-year-old breakdown, right? So they just missed a 17-year-old breakdown, and now I'm calling their competitor.
Yeah. And so not only in what you're saying there, Cory, I mean, I think those of us in the industry understand what you're saying, but whether that's a $99 diagnostic plus a repair, whether that's a repair versus replace conversation, if you go out there and perform 5 more, I look at every call that comes into our call center, it's $250,000.
Yeah.
We have to look at this as liquid gold when those phones ring, not let somebody wait for 2.5 minutes and then displace responsibility and then make it about us by saying, how'd you hear about us? It was really bad.
That's great. And I love that point you just made there about I'm big on that. And a lot of CSRs, they don't get it and they push back on it. One thing I teach, and exactly what you just said, is focus on the customer's problem at the beginning of the call. I don't even ask what their address is.
Right.
No qualifying questions.
Agreed.
Nothing. Take at least 10 to 30 seconds and just focus on that customer's problem. So showing empathy, definitely not saying sorry, because we all know it's cliche, overused, people don't hear it. But that's terrible, Dave. I hate to hear you going through
Yeah.
that, right?
I want to jump in and say,
tell me
oh my
more.
gosh, Dave, that sounds
Yeah.
like you must be incredibly hot in your home today. That sounds
Yeah.
frustrating. You've
Yeah.
called the right place when you called Keith. By the way, the other thing was you
Reassurance.
called help. You were Googled in help. You called the help
Yes.
number.
Help! Exclamation point, exclamation point.
And so when she says, have you used us before? They did not do what we talked about before the call, where they identified the fact that, are you, the help situation? Are you calling help exclamation point? Are you calling Keith? You could have been confused. Maybe you were a longtime customer and now they're answering the phone with a different name. So I didn't like that at all either. Just a lot of little things that I think add up to big things. I would say in the very early start of that call, as soon as we show some empathy, we could use our voice inflection to truly show concern, get your cell phone number so that if a situation, and I think you did accidentally hang up, I don't think your phone's rang back here. And so there's a few $1,000s hanging in the balance, if not a couple of $100,000 over the life of the system and life of this customer. And so not only is your phone not called back, they didn't need our address, right? Now they've just got your name, your last name, your address, and your zip code. And now it's nothing. It's in their database. And now you're probably going to get some type of marketing I think you got cut off before you gave me your email. But yeah, there's a lot of things that we could help solidify and fix in this call.
And that's another point you just made there, Doug. No call back. Here we are, been talking for, I don't even know how long at this point, and no call back. So this lady has my number. And she just decided that I'm not important enough, that, hey, for whatever reason, we got disconnected. We'll just let that one go.
It's
or
the culture.
Maybe she sent an email to the team, the in-house team, and said, hey, this person called. They hung up on me. I don't know. Either way, it's bad.
One of the things I'm really big on, number one, we got to start with our company culture. We've got to explain to the people in our organization that are answering the phones what the breadth of the responsibility is here. Number two, I'm really big on performance-based pay compensation. I'm going to compensate my people in my call center so that we answer that phone by the time it even gets to the second ring, right? We've got to have people that every time they answer the phone, they're compensated. Every time that they schedule a great call, they're compensated. If they get both homeowners present on a sales lead, they're compensated. We've got to have a reward system in place that rewards the behavior that we desire, not the behavior that we don't. My guess is that the person that we just spoke to is going to make the same paycheck at the end of this day on Friday, whether they schedule us or not. And so if we want somebody to be a little bit more assertive, to have a bigger sense of urgency and truly treating this like liquid gold, we've got to compensate them as such. And so that's one of the biggest challenges I see. We've got to have people in our call center that are like the cheerleader for our organization that wants that business just as bad as the commissioned only comfort advisor or technician that's out running the calls. So that's one of the things that we can fix here too, to create a sense of urgency within the facility.
I completely agree. Incentivizing, paying well, but like you said, when they get incentivized for booking more calls or doing certain things, cross-selling, that is absolutely the way to do it. That's when you see the highest performers. So, no, I agree with that. Or Doug, why pay anybody at all? Why not just get rid of all your CSRs and just use AI?
Well, I will say this. I know there's a big debate going on in AI, and I'm a fan of AI. I will say this. If I was able to personally train a CSR, I think I can outperform most AIs. However, I think most AIs outperform most CSRs based on the calls that I listen to.
Sad but true as far as consistency. Consistency, AI is consistent.
Like if I put your AI up against most of the calls that we could just sit here and make all day today and through the weekend and all next week, your AI is going to outperform the vast majority of human CSRs. But should it be that way? No, I don't think it should be. Now, in another 3 years, maybe even another year, I don't know. AI is progressing day after day. Today, it's worse than it'll be tomorrow, and tomorrow it'll be better, and the next day it'll be better. But at the same time, I think, if you have the right person and you train them properly in the way that they communicate, the words that they share, the way in which they share them, their voice inflection, their energy, their enthusiasm, their empathy, their execution of what they're being trained on, you're going to get great success out of your call center. And when you don't, you're going to have things like this where maybe $250,000 slips right between your fingers.
Right. Yeah. We're not going to get too deep into AI today, but there's a right way to do it and there's a wrong way to do it. And a lot of contractors, because we test that too, right? And we audit that, it's not plug and play. You got to set it up right. You got to configure it right. You got to make sure the routing's right. a lot of stuff there. But I agree with what you're saying, and I think that the biggest thing is you got to have a human in the loop right now, and that's the biggest miss for a lot of contractors is you got to have a human in the loop and several levels, right? But the thing about HVAC, and you know this, Doug, is it's a relationship business. We're building long-term relationships with our clients, and AI can fake empathy and all this stuff, but it can't really have that human connection, right? And so if you think you're just gonna get rid of your people that are on the phones because they're talking to your customers. They talk to more people than anybody in your company, right? That's the first impression, the first connection with your company. So if you think, man, I'm just going to get rid of my people and use AI, that's a hard thing. Even I don't care how good it gets. That's just a hard pill for me to swallow that will ever be as effective as having people.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, as I understand your company name, Cory, it's like, is an AI agent going to knock someone's socks off?
Yeah.
Maybe not. Maybe will they get the job done in many situations with the right AI and the right training and the right setup? They can book the call, as you talk about a lot. Is it booked or busted? But what I would say is, like I agree with you. If you have the right person delivering the right content and they're being treated well, they're compensated well based on their performance, then I think the human element can outperform the AI, at least as we sit in here and speak today.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So let's do this, Doug, because the rules of the show is one call, right? It's
I'm all about breaking rules, Cory.
Yeah. But we're gonna bend the rules. All right.
Okay.
We're not gonna call back. They're done.
Okay.
They have failed us.
Apparently they haven't called you back.
Yeah, we're gonna call the parent company here. Let me get the number, and we'll see if we can get them on the line. Now, I hope to God they answer the phone. Wow, hold on a second. No way. Wait a second. Okay, I thought it was the same number. Okay, it's not. Okay. All right, so let me get this number dialed up here. All right, we got. Okay. Yep. All right, so let's go on and give the call, and we're gonna see
Cool.
if they do any better.
Thank you for calling Keith. All calls are recorded for quality and training purposes. Please hold for the next available agent.
Same terrible on hold music.
We might get the same overflow person, Cory.
We already passed 20 seconds.
I'm rooting for them.
Of course, it's just I don't understand this.
There's a customer with a no cooling situation with a 17-year-old piece of equipment on the line. That is your plan on this call, right? To be the equipment 17 years old.
Yep.
Cory, how do you feel about having some type of value being added right here on the recording?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, definitely something. I mean, anything but this.
While we fill in our time here, here's what I've recommended and trained and did at my companies where we won a lot of awards. Right now is an opportunity to introduce some of your people and have them humanize our business rather than commoditize it. So what I'd like to do here is I'd like to hear some on-hold music. And here, it's way too early to sell anything. What I do not want to do on my on-hold music is tell them that we have steam humidifiers at a discount or that we're running this promotion. It's way too early. We haven't built a relationship. It's not time to go in for the kiss, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what we can do is build value and start to humanize, introduce them to a few of our people, talk about some of our company history, that we've been in the New Orleans area for 55 years or whatever it is, that we're family owned, that we're expanding, that it's an honor to serve our community. Some of the awards that we've won, perhaps if they're a President's Circle Award winner nationally with their brand, then perhaps they could share some of those things. There's all different kinds of things that we could lend to social proof, be consistent, right? We can start to add our value and really warm up the
AC, heating, electrical, and plumbing. Please stay on the line for the next available representative.
I think we're going to after hours. I'm not.
By the way,
this call is being recorded for quality assurance.
I'm not going to talk to him.
Hey, by the way, are we on mute when we're doing our little conversation?
No, we're not. But
the interesting thing
Thank
is,
you for contacting Keith, now partnering with Help Air Conditioning.
Hi, is this Keith's or is this a third party?
This is a third party. I'm with the overflow department, which must be in this office is handling other appointments at the moment.
Okay, well I'll try to call him back later then. I appreciate it.
No problem, and you have a good day.
Thank you.
it's interesting that we called help and they only identified themselves as,
And then we
and
called.
and they actually had a different script. But it sounds like what happened was the overflow department, which is actually an answering service, right? Is what I'm hearing now. At least that's my opinion. The first person just didn't stick to the script.
Yeah,
I'm assuming they both had the same script.
She said this is now partnering with. the script before was this is now partnering with. I
No,
think they just
Cory, unless I wrote it down wrong, I think the first time they just said thank you for calling. When you
okay.
called help, I don't even think they mentioned help. I could be wrong. Maybe I
Gotcha.
misheard.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's just interesting. I don't even know why I called why are they even talking about, you know what I mean?
And
But
listen,
I don't know.
here's what I would say about AI. If I could train an AI the way you, and I've seen a lot of the things that you train, I would much rather have AI helping with my overflow than sending
Yes.
this to a call center somewhere else that's just essentially an answering service. Because I think there's a lot of challenges with answering services. You know, that person that we just spoke to, while they're human, at this very moment is taking another call from somewhere else, probably in a
Yep.
different part of the country. And so I would say that is a very difficult job to continue to do that, have your screen populate and do that over and over again, which is one reason why I think I would probably make the investment to have AI answer some of my overflow there.
Absolutely. I completely agree. I think AI is one of the best solutions for overflow. And the key here, I just called a company the other day, Doug, and like I mentioned before, most customers are going to hang up after 20, 30 seconds, 30 seconds at the most. A common mistake I see is they're letting people stay in that queue 45 seconds, 50, 60 seconds before it's even going to AI. You want to reduce that. Like I said, no more than 30 seconds, as close to 20 seconds as possible. If nobody's going to answer that phone, your AI answering service
Yeah,
is picking
it
up, right?
reminds me of the old speed to lead, and I've heard you talk about that before. And to me, it's like I think a lot of us, especially in the trade, some of us are still kind of operating under the old school mentality that, well, we're better at what we do and we serve people better, we do the best work. And even if that's true, we have now been conditioned as a society in the last decade or two that when you start watching something on your phone or on your computer, we've got about a 3-second attention span. So it is correct when you say 20 seconds is a long time. I mean, you're essentially 7 times that 3-second, attention span. And now we've not even done anything to entertain them.
Yeah.
I am happy to hear that we at least had some type of message in the very beginning. The call center music there, the on-hold music, was suspect and about put us to sleep, even though we're hot and sweaty.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of things that I think we could do. Little nuances that we could do make a big difference. But the main thing is we got to get to those calls faster. And then when we answer them, show more empathy and take an interest in the homeowner right off the bat.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, Doug. Well, it is the tradition on this show to let the guest give their score first. So
we're going to score the first call.
Well, just the whole experience. So you're the guest score. So you're combining the technology experience and the customer service, and you're going to put that score. Think of it as like in ice skating when they you got 1 to 10 is your range, right?
Okay, 1 to 10.
10 would be legendary, and it's very rare.
It'd be
to
like if you
10.
answered the phone, Cory.
Right, exactly.
If you answered the phone with your skill set,
that would be the only 10 allowed. Yes. So a 10 is because if you give a 10, then what if you hear one better, right? So it's dangerous to give a 10.
I agree.
So you want to think about that. Now, obviously,
we're not giving a 10 here.
These people are going to be nowhere near a 10. I can tell you, I'm going to be low. I'm going to be low on my score here. Let us have it.
Okay. I like to be fair, especially when I don't know what their training program is. I don't know what they've been training on. And here's the challenge, Cory. This was an answering service. So now we're kind of scoring the company, but we're now, like you said, we're scoring their operations and their technology, their culture, their script that was sent to the answering service. And now we're really just scoring somebody in answering service. Here's what I will say. I'm going to give it somewhere. My overall experience here is probably like a 2. I'm not scheduling with this company. I'm already scheduling somewhere else. If I didn't get scheduled and there was $250,000 on the line, now I'm at a 0, right? I mean, this experience just cost me $250,000 of liquid gold in my business. And this is everything I came to work for and everything I've been working for 55 years if I'm the owner of Key, along with everybody there in leadership.
And they didn't book you, Doug. They wouldn't have booked you because the answering service wasn't going to book us either. So they were going to take our information and send it to, and they already have our information.
They have your name.
Still haven't called
they
us
have
back.
your cell phone number, Cory, and they still haven't called you back.
So now I'm like,
here's why I said a 2. Because I know your score is going to be low anyway. I will say that for an answering service, the gal had a very nice tone. She was sweet. She didn't sound mad. She did make the excuse. She didn't accept ownership. It took way too long for them to answer, then displaced responsibility. which I guess she should because she's the answering service. But then at least she did collect your name. I will say this, I'm going to give her a few points because when you gave your name, Dave Longacre, they did ask for the spelling of your first name, then guessed at your second name, spelled it wrong, you corrected, so they did get it right in their system. Then got your address, got your cell phone number right before you were disconnected. Did not get your email, but the challenge is now we're 25 minutes since that happened and they haven't called you back. That's going to take whatever they got from their good tonality, the spelling, saying they were sorry for your wait. And that's going to take us back down to a really low score, probably less than 2. Ultimately, they lost our business and now there's going to be another company probably on the way right now or in the short near-term future to come out and look at a 17-year-old unit with no cooling with the opportunity to either get a nice ticket on a repair, have a repair versus replace conversation, and perhaps replace an entire system, get a 5-star review, a club membership, and also 3 or 4 or 5 referrals. So
That's right.
It's a very low score for me, Cory.
Yeah. All right. So what is your final score?
1.8.
1.8. All right. So Doug scores 1.8. I think that is fair. So for my sock score, like you said, and I mean, you said it right. You're pointing out the positives. You got to look for that, right? And so we always want to focus on what we're doing well, but the negatives definitely outweigh the positives. So on my sock score, I call it my customer service score, I'm going to go on and give them a 2.2. All right. I'm gonna bump it up just a little bit. Maybe I'm being generous. Maybe I'm being nice, but a 2.2. Now, on the technology side, you were a 1.8, right? Right, Doug?
I think overall, just I would have been. I think I was going to be a 3, but now that we're 20 minutes out of this and there's no call back, my score is continuing to drop by the minute.
Yeah. So 1.8 for you, a 2.3 for me. So on the technology side, it's going to be low as well. And the main reason it's low is because how long it took, right? So most customers would never even talk to that. They would never even got a chance to experience that lady in the third party call center, right?
Right.
Because they would have hung up after 30 seconds and called the competitor, right? So the score's got to be low because of that. Other than that, though, I would say something that knocks the points, like I said, that the intro message was a little long. Would keep that under 5 seconds, but not much else. Audio quality was good and all that. I'm going to give them, because they did have an answering service. I didn't go to voicemail, Doug. I didn't go to voicemail. Yeah. So I'm going to give them a 3.9 on the tech score.
I think that's fair. I mean, 3.9. 3.9 is
long.
generous. Here, I'll give you a quick rundown. So I joined a company in 2015 as part owner in Denver, Colorado, 18 years in business, and they still had calls going to an answering machine like the tape, where the more messages that were left, you'd get the please leave a message at the beep, and then beep, and the longer the more messages there were, the longer the beep ran. So they were doing that in 2015. This company was not doing that. At least they've invested in an answering service to roll those calls for the overflow. So I'm going to give them a couple of points there. The challenge is it did take way too long. If I was that company, I'd really be having a meeting with my answering service to say, guys, what is going on? We're a couple of minutes on a call, middle of the day. This isn't overnight. It's 84 degrees. It's not like it's 110 across the country today with a heat wave that swept the country. How in the world are my customers waiting that long? And as we were on that call, Cory, you mentioned many a times, I probably would have hung up and called somebody else if I was a real customer.
I think this is solid. I think we're being very generous with our scores because at the end of the day, they didn't get us booked. I think the biggest thing we need to drive home is that 98% of customers would have hung up before that 2:30, right? And they would have called the competitor. So with that,
can I say
said,
something really quick? I want to say something really quick, Cory, in case somebody's watching, because if somebody from this organization watches this, they're going to be upset with both of us, but they're definitely going to be upset with me, except for one person, the business owner. The business owner is not going to be upset because they know the risk, liability, the years of experience, everything that it took to put those trucks on the road, the website in place, the people in those seats, on the phones, in the vans. But what I will say is the management's probably not going to be happy with us. The call center is going to hate us, right, for being this tough on them. But at the end of the day, we have a tremendous responsibility when we're in business. And as an ownership leadership team, I will say we also have to look inward, like Jocko Willink would say in the book Extreme Ownership. Ultimately, it lands in our lap. So as a business owner, if this was my organization, it's time to bring the organization in, play some of these calls, do some secret shopping, call ourselves, and then play these in front of our people and say, we must fix this. We have to get better, because this isn't just about revenue. If we're saying that we're the best and that we're the best option, then it's our responsibility to prove that on every single sales lead, every single service call. And the only way we get to those is by every single phone call. I used to share with my team, the next time our phone rings is the next most important call in the history of this business.
That's it.
Every single time that phone rings is the next most important moment in our company history. And when people start to have that sense of urgency, we start to look at those calls differently.
That's right.
What I've found, Cory, is when somebody uses an organization like yours, they can cut their marketing expense in half because they need half as many calls if they're scheduling these calls the way that you would coach them to do so. So if you're wondering, where do I get the money for the CSR training, the coaching, and all those things, you could pull it from your marketing budget as soon as you had your phones being handled in a way that you teach them to be handled.
That's a good way. It's a
right
great
there.
way to look at it. And it's so true. It is so true.
And then you take the additional
amount of revenue that's lost.
I mean, Cory, you've been in the industry a long time, as have I. We both know that if that call was executed properly, and then we had a great technician, highly trained, dressed to the nines, wearing the company hat, with the name badge on, shirt tucked in, looking nice, smelling nice, being able to speak the part, build the value, go in there, no high pressure sales, serve that customer well, build the value. And then all of a sudden we have a conversation about doing a repair on a 17-year-old unit on an air conditioner in New Orleans, right? I mean, we're close to the Bay, we're close to Salt. It's a 17-year-old system. There's a high likelihood, there is a very good chance that this turns into a new installation in the coming days. And so not only are we going to save money on our marketing by not needing to schedule 10 times the call, or get the 10 times the phone rings to schedule the calls we need to fund our business, we're going to do better on the calls that we schedule. And then if we're training our people in the field, it all flows together, right? I mean, this organism, it's got to go together. And right now we have a major breakdown of what I would say, this is the size of the Grand Canyon. A call came in, and the gap between what this organization is promoting themselves as, we didn't even get to go out and do our job. We didn't get to diagnose. We didn't get to build value, have the conversation. Why? Because this opportunity was lost on one side of the canyon. That's how big the gap is, because now this customer's lost forever. It's scary. It's scary. And so I think, if we don't have a program in place where we are making this a priority in our business every time that phone rings, that should be priority number one come Monday morning when we walk into that facility, because here we are talking on a Friday afternoon is why I'm saying that. When we walk into that facility on Monday morning, this has to be priority number one, because we are hemorrhaging opportunity and cash flow and customers with an experience like this.
That's it. That is it. That is great. Great stuff, Doug. I appreciate you sharing all that. That is so much gold in there. And man, it's so important, and just continuing to build awareness. And that's why we do this show. It's not about being mean to people. It's not about bullying contractors. It's about unveiling the revenue that's leaking on the phones, and it's everywhere. And
let's help these people to knock people's socks off with customer service and experiences that they say, here's what I want every customer that ever called my business. I wanted them at some point to tell the CSR, I can't believe you're a contractor, or I can't believe you're in HVAC. Right. Like, I want that experience so out of bounds of what they were expecting that they're like, I cannot believe the way you guys run your business. That's the experience that every single person that dials that number deserves.
Yep. That's wonderful. Yep. That is the target. That is the goal. So let's give our final booked or busted score. And what we're doing is we're combining the scores that we gave Doug, and we're going to give our final booked or busted score. And that is 2.8. So that falls on my scale. That falls into the category of booking blown.
Yeah.
So
I think you busted him, Cory.
It was rough. Below that, you can get a 0, right, or a 1.5, and that would be drop the call. Well, they didn't. If you get drop the call, that means you didn't answer the phone. I typically, like, if they don't answer the phone or I go to a voicemail, they're getting a 0 or they're getting under a 1, right? So I
Yeah.
think that's a fair score at a 2.8 because we did get somebody, but there was a lot of friction there. Most people would have hung up like we said. So, well, Doug, before we close out, is there anything else you would like to say to the listeners?
My encouragement is to all of our listeners, you got to have somebody like Cory. You got to have a program that is having your team frontal lobe awareness, the importance of every time that phone rings. Our CSRs, in my estimation, are one of our biggest revenue generating positions. They also lose more revenue than we can ever imagine if they're not trained properly, if they don't have the right mindset, the right thought process. One of the things I will say is that the CSR position is not just about regurgitating scripts. This is about truly thinking about the human experience of somebody that woke up today that was not expecting to have a problem with their heating or their air conditioning, their plumbing or their electrical. They woke up wishing that all of it was still working like it was the day before. They weren't wanting to call us. It's our responsibility to show empathy, to say that we care, and to do that in our voice tone, our voice inflection. The call center is the heartbeat of our organization. And if you remove the heart of the organization or the organism, you're dead. And so my encouragement to everybody on here is to say we've got to start putting just as much, if not more, focus on our training in the call center, because oftentimes we're working on everything that we're doing in the field, from our technical expertise to the things that we're saying. How are we closing? How are we overcoming bids and brands and stalls and price and talk to my spouse and someone else will do it cheaper? But we're not thinking about how are we training our representatives that are our first touch point after our website and our answering machine, right? Or the on-call music. We're not sufficiently training them on the importance of their role. And quite frankly, what I see oftentimes, we're not compensating them as one of the most important people in our organization either. If we truly could know how much revenue we've lost, then we would find a way to compensate these people on the front end when they did deliver what we're asking them to deliver, meaning our CSRs.
That's it. That's it. And the last thing that I would add is it's spring right now. This episode's being released in the spring, and we're getting ready to move into the busiest season of all for most of our contractors throughout the country and Canada. And it's going to get hot. It's going to get hot for everybody, right? No matter where you are. And we want to be prepared for that. So now, I mean, you should have been getting prepared before this, right? But now's your time. If there's things that need to be done, you want to make those tweaks. And I got to say too, Doug, and something I always tell contractors, it's not always these massive changes you have to make. It's just some polishes that make all the difference. Even like this company, these aren't like real hard changes for them to make, right? Just some things they need to shift. And so what I would say, one thing that Sock Knocker is offering right now is a call center spring maintenance audit. Contractors all over the country are telling their customers, hey, you got to get your system tuned up before summer hits, right? Why? Because if there's a repair that needs to be done, you need to get it done now. If it needs to be replaced, you need to get it done now because it's going to save you money, right? It's going to reduce the risk of breakdowns. It's going to lower utility bills or make your system last longer, whatever the goal is of that customer, right? So get your system tuned up. Well, my question to every contractor is, when was the last time you tuned up the system that books your revenue? And that's your call center. So that's what we're doing right now. So just like we do on the show, we're auditing call centers, but we make several calls, different scenarios, looking at the complete inbound experience. And not just calls, by the way. They're your web forms, online scheduling, text chat, everything, right? And we want to close up any gaps, find the bottlenecks, and eliminate any.
Corey, I would say to anybody watching today, I highly encourage you and recommend you take Cory up on that offer. I've gotten to know Cory outside of the recording here, and I've watched the reels and the stuff that he's producing. He's going to make you hundreds of thousands of dollars very quickly if you'll listen to what he's training your team to do and have them implement those things. There's just no way it doesn't work. I've listened to tens of thousands of calls in the trades, both my company and other companies across the country over the last 19 years. And I'm telling you, almost every call, with every 3 to 6 seconds, we can identify things that we say, oh, right there, we could have changed that. We could have done this instead. Oh, it was too early for that, right? And so I would just say, if you're watching this episode, take Cory up on that and start securing the revenue and the customers that we're losing because we don't have Cory's type of program in place.
Oh, I appreciate that, Doug, but spot on. And one thing I'll add to that is, I love the old saying, I can't see the forest for the trees,
Yeah.
Sometimes we're just too close to it when we're in our organization. I've helped some elite companies, right, that have great team members, great people, great managers. So it has nothing to do with you not being smart or your team not being smart or great. It's just about getting another perspective, somebody that's niched in the industry, to find some of those gaps that sometimes are hard to see when you're in the day-to-day.
Yeah, it's like, I agree with you. I know you've worked with some of the most successful organizations in the country, Cory. You're right. It doesn't have to do with size or gross revenue or, time in business, because actually some of those things can become a hindrance because we get so far removed. There's so many iterations from the ideas that the original business owner or leadership team had, and then it's trickled down and it gets watered down. It's like the whisper down the lane, the old phone tree game that we could play as kids. And all of a sudden you got a person in $100 million organization, but they're in there making the wage of a CSR, and they don't understand what it took to get this company where it is over the last 10 or 30 or 50 years. They don't understand the vision that the business owner had the day he started it. And it's just like trickle down the lane, and that's not a good thing here. It's getting watered down. So
Yes.
I agree. It doesn't mean that the business isn't successful or that they're not the biggest in town. Oftentimes that is the challenge. There's so many people, so many moving parts, that those companies have to get reinvested in the sense of urgency of their training in their call center department. It's vital.
That is it. So we'll have all that information here. You'll find those links and ways to get there. And also all Doug's information will be available as well. Well, Doug, thank you so much. It's been an honor to have you. You've brought so much value, dropped so much gold. I'm excited to get this out to contractors and everybody that's watching, listening. Thank you again for watching another episode of Booked or Busted, and we'll see you next time. And hey, maybe you're going to be the one that gets the call.